Welcome everyone to ABC Interactive English. I am your host, Shane.
And I'm Sam, and we are looking at part 2 of Jensen Huang's thick soup philosophy. Oh, that's the hardest thing.
All right, so when we talk about a philosophy of a work environment, like what kind of place you would like to work for, what would the environment be like there? What is like the ideal company for you? Like what would that look like to you?
So I think, and I know that this is easy to say if you are like the worker, but I still think this as a whole is a good thing for a company to kind of adopt, is the idea that everybody who is working for you is a real person who has a real life. So things like really hard deadlines for you have to be here by 9 o'clock in the morning, or otherwise, you get a penalty unless it's something like you need to film or you need to have an exact time for a reason. But a normal office setting should have kind of flexible arrival and flexible leaving, because not everybody works at the same pace or in the same kind of time frame. There's actually a lot of studies that they've shown that people have kind of different groups of times that their brain is awake and working. So letting people kind of be flexible with their hours, I think, would be a really good thing for companies to kind of understand.
They have a name for this. They call flexi time.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and flexi time could mean, for example, maybe having certain days off from work that's not traditional. Like maybe you don't traditionally work from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. But you can work your 40 hours the way that you want to work them at the times that suit you the best. So that kind of reminds me of that kind of idea. Okay, why don't we get back into Jensen Huang's thick soup philosophy.
Jensen Huang values failure. When workers fail, they're likely taking risks. Huang believes they can learn from that and improve. So he sees failure as a fee the company pays for progress.
All right, everyone, we are looking at Jensen Huang's thick soup philosophy part 2. So we're going to go ahead and get right into the article and learn more about his way of thinking and way of running his company.
Okay, so Jensen Huang values failure. So failure, in other words, is good. Okay, interesting. Now, to value failure, in other words, to value something means to think it is important or that it is useful or good. So in this situation, failing is considered something that's important to do. And he values it and thinks it's a good thing to fail. So you could, for example, this word value, you could say, I value my family, because you think family is important, right? Okay.
All right, so what does this mean, that valuing failure, that failure is a good thing? Well, it says when workers fail, they're likely taking risks. This is actually a really interesting way to think about it, and a lot of big company people understand this, that if you are not failing, that means you're not pushing
You're not
farther.
trying hard
You're not
enough.
trying, you're not taking risks, you're not attempting to do something new, because you try something new, it might not always work, but at least you tried and you're not stuck in the same little bubble of what is safe. So actually a very important concept for a tech company, because you need to push the technology and see what else is out there.
Right. You have a lot of competition and you want to rise above the competition. Means you're going to have to come up with some new ideas. And to try something new is definitely risky. Okay, let's go to Tina and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tina. 今天我们继续来聊聊辉达创办人黄仁勋的浓汤哲学。黄仁勋看重失败的价值。当员工失败时，代表他们可能正在承担风险。我们来看看单字 value， 动词看重、珍视。I value my family time the most. 我最看重的是家庭时光。文法的部分刚刚提到了 take a risk， 承担风险。Risk 指的是风险，比如说 starting a new business means you take risks every day. 创业意味着每天都要承担风险。接着我们回到课文当中。
Okay, thank you very much, Tina. So we know that Huang values failure. What sounds a little bit weird to think, oh, failure's good, right? But this is why he thinks that. Huang believes they, meaning his workers, his employees, can learn from that and improve. So if you fail, you've tried something new, you've definitely learned something. And I think in life in general, it's good to have this kind of way of thinking, is that it's okay to fail, because when you fail, you learn something, and because you've now learned something, you can go on and become better and better, right?
And so it says, so he sees failure as a fee the company pays for progress. So he kind of already takes this idea of failure and says that any mistakes that we make or projects that we start and we put money into that don't work, well, that is just the fee that we need to pay to continue to push our company forward. And so this word fee just means a price that you need to pay for something. You might have an entrance fee when you go to a zoo or a museum or an aquarium, something like that. But in this case, they're saying we had to pay this fee of this failure so that we can continue to push our company forward.
Right. Okay. And there's also another vocabulary word, progress. Now, progress is just the movement forward. So go forward. Or it could mean to get better over time. So for example, you could say she is making good progress, meaning whatever she's doing, she is doing well and it's getting better over time. Okay, why don't we go to Tina and we will be right back.
黄仁勋相信员工能够从失败中学习并进步，因此呢，他把失败视为公司为进步所付出的代价。我们来看看单字 fee 名词费用。The gym has a monthly fee for members. 这间健身房对会员收取月费。Progress 名词进步。Jack's progress with English is clear after 3 months. 3个月后 ，Jack 的英文明显进步。接着我们回到课文当中。
Okay, so he definitely has an interesting philosophy that I think a lot of successful companies these days, especially big companies that are successful, they do have this kind of concept of allowing their workers, maybe allowing them a little bit more freedom to explore and to try new things and to not be afraid to fail.
Yes.
So I think that's a really good philosophy. All right, why don't we go to the second part of the article, and we will be right back to learn even more about this soup.
In addition, Huang demands honesty from his workers. They must own up to their mistakes and correct them quickly. If they don't, they'll have bigger problems to deal with. Huang knows it takes time to learn NVIDIA's culture, so he's willing to give his workers second chances and help them grow. In turn, they help take NVIDIA into the future.
Welcome back, everybody. So we've learned one important thing about Huang's philosophy and about this thick soup philosophy is that he really values failure. That's one of the key concepts, one of the key ideas about his philosophy of how a company should work. Okay, why don't we continue the reading?
Yes, and so if we look and see, we have more about his philosophy. It says, in addition, Huang demands honesty from his workers. So yes, he allows them to fail. He says that is okay as long as you are honest about it. So this word honesty, this noun, means to be truthful. So you are not trying to lie and cover up that you failed or that you made a mistake. You need to say very clearly, yes, I made a mistake. This is what I did, and I'm being truthful and honest about what they did.
Yeah, and I like this. They start off in addition. This is a nice way you can learn to say also, like there's one more thing, in addition. So you can remember that. Continuing the reading, they must own up to their mistakes and correct them quickly. So when you own up to something, that means that you take responsibility for something. So here that means you have to take responsibility for your mistakes and then correct them quickly.
Yes, and it says if they don't, meaning if they don't own up quickly or if they don't be honest, they'll have bigger problems to deal with. So it looks like he really does value this a lot as well. Failure, yes, that's okay, but be honest about it. Tell us that you made a mistake and let's fix it. And if you try to hide it or you don't be honest, well, then you might run into some big problems.
Well, in English, we have a saying, honesty is the best policy. And we think about at companies and working for a company, they have a lot of different policies, which just mean rules. So it means the best rule of life is honesty. So being honest is important. Okay, why don't we go to Tina and we'll take a short break.
除此之外，黄仁勋要求员工诚实，他们必须承认自己的错误，并迅速改正。如果不这么做，他们之后会有更大的问题要处理。我们来看看单字 honesty， 名词，诚实。Honesty builds strong friendships over time. 诚实能随着时间建立稳固的友谊。文法的部分刚刚提到了 own up to something， 坦诚承认某事物。You should own up to forgetting your homework. 你应该要承认你忘记做作业了。接着我们回到课文当中。
Okay, failure, okay. Honesty, good. All right, let's see what else Huang thinks. Well, Huang knows it takes time to learn NVIDIA's culture. So when we have a culture of a company, is a culture here is just meaning kind of the way that things work, the way that things are done, kind of the way that if you go there, you'll see, oh, this is how things are done here. That is the culture of a place. So it's going to take time to learn these new ideas that he has, right?
Yes, and so if you just start working for this company, it does take a little bit to kind of fit in and understand how things are working in that place.
Get used to it, right?
Yes, and so it says, so he's willing to give his workers second chances and help them grow. So it's not just like one mistake and you're out. It's like, okay, you made a mistake. Let's take a second chance. I'll give you a second chance so you can try again, and then you can kind of get the idea better and grow.
Okay, so to give somebody a second chance is probably pretty obvious. You have a first chance, this is the number one. If you make a mistake, to give someone a second chance means to let them try again after they have made a mistake. So you could say, for example, she made a mistake, but her boss gave her a second chance. Continuing the reading, in turn, they help take NVIDIA into the future. Okay, so now NVIDIA, because you're able to make mistakes, you're able to learn, you're able to fail. This is all going to help this company, NVIDIA, go into the future and be an even better company, right? Okay, why don't we go ahead to Tina, and we'll be right back.
黄仁勋知道辉达的企业文化需要花时间学习，所以他愿意给员工第二次机会和帮助他们成长。相反的，员工会帮助辉达迈向更美好的未来。我们来看看刚刚课文里提到的文法 Give somebody a second chance 给某人第二次机会 Chance 是机会。举例来说 The coach gave the player a second chance after his mistake 教练在选手犯错后给了他第二次机会。接着我们回到课文当中。
Well, would you like to work for NVIDIA?
I think it would be a nice company to work for. I would think I would enjoy it. Not that I know anything really about
Right.
the technology side of it.
Whether you could and whether you would like a company like that, they're different. Yeah.
Yes.
We might not have the talent or the ability to actually work there, but it does sound like a nice work environment, an environment where you can make mistakes and not feel too worried about being fired for taking risks. I think that would be nice.
I agree.
Okay, why don't we go ahead, review the article again, and that's the end of the article. That's the end of this thick soup philosophy, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Jensen Huang values failure. When workers fail, they're likely taking risks. Huang believes they can learn from that and improve. So he sees failure as a fee the company pays for progress. In addition, Huang demands honesty from his workers. They must own up to their mistakes and correct them quickly. If they don't, they'll have bigger problems to deal with. Huang knows it takes time to learn NVIDIA's culture, so he's willing to give his workers second chances and help them grow. In turn, they help take NVIDIA into the future.
我们来复习一下这一课的重点单字跟文法。单字的部分 value 动词看重珍视 fee 名词费用 progress 名词进步 honesty 名词诚实。文法的部分 take a risk 承担风险 Some people are afraid to take risks in life 有些人害怕在人生中冒险 own up to something坦诚承认某事物 I know you broke my cup Why don't you just own up to it 我知道你打破我的杯子你为什么就是不承认 Give somebody a second chance 给某人第二次机会 Jill gave her new assistant a second chance Jill 给了她的新助理第二次机会以上就是这一课的重点单词跟文法那我们下一课再见咯拜拜
The saxophone is one of the most recognizable and popular woodwind instruments. But did you know there's a place in Taichung where you can learn more about it? Today, we're visiting the only story-based saxophone museum and sightseeing factory in Taiwan.
Taiwan's saxophone industry began in Houli District, Taichung, and the area is now home to many saxophone stores. Lien-Cheng Musical Instrument Factory on Gong'an Road was originally a saxophone factory. In 2002, it established a saxophone museum that opened to the public. It features a concert hall on the first floor and an exhibition space on the second floor. You can join guided tours, learn about the history of saxophones, and even try playing one yourself. On holidays, you can enjoy live music in the concert hall while sipping a cup of coffee. You should also check out the restrooms, where the wash basins are shaped like the bell of a saxophone. Be sure to get a picture with these before you leave.
So, if you're a saxophone fan and curious about Taiwan's saxophone industry, you won't want to miss the opportunity to visit the Saxophone Museum.